And into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, NBC Sports Radio Station, KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So on this show, there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words. No Kardashian. Actually, Kim Kardashian is doing some great things. I stopped saying Kardashian. Now I use Kanye because Kim's actually helping one of my favorite people, Akuyo Graham's organization, Spirit Awakening. So that's why I don't say Kardashian anymore. So no gossip, no scandal, and no Kanye talk, formerly or now known as, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And so I have topics and guests and series to that end. If you've missed any of my 1,000, and today is, I believe, 21, so 1,020 show podcasts over the last 594 consecutive weeks. And I'm so grateful that anyone, actually a lot of people, who said, you know what, a show about hope and happiness that doesn't talk about all the bad things in the news the way it is, CNN, constantly negative news, will not last. I'm so glad you're wrong, but I love you anyways. And I'm so glad I see eyeballs rolling in right now. Thank you for the finger. We've already gotten some fingers, not that finger, but this finger. If you would like to actually participate in this show, thanks to technology, you can do so. My YouTube TV channel is the central hub for all of my shows. So please free subscribe there. You'll get an alert every weekday morning to tune in at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm also for a limited time on LinkedIn, also streaming to gather some folks, as well as my Facebook. So please go to YouTube. That will be switching onto the Soul Place as of the new year. Just want to give you that warning. And I'm so delighted today. As you can see, I'm not alone in the studio. I have a coachee this morning, a couple of last Mental Health Matters Mondays. People have given me their question and then decided that they really didn't want to come on. So I applaud Tammy, first of all and foremost, for being on camera this morning. And I don't know who muted you, but I think, Frank, if you could unmute her, or she can unmute. There we go. I'd like to welcome to my show Tammy, for being a volunteer for some happiness coaching. Welcome, Tammy. And before
good morning,
and
thank you for having me.
Good morning. And before we get started, I do this thing called having breakfast with my guest in the morning. Oh, wow. Look at my cashew gallery. Hold on here. Oh, we've got Orville Nation from New York. And we've got, Frank's saying hi, PJ. That wasn't even me. PJ, let's see. I'm sure that Maria's here too. Yeah, there we go. And we also have, he's here to get unbalanced. And from Africa, tuning in is Jean-Baptiste. Beautiful conversation, mental health matter, more here in Africa, special for youth who have fear of their future. Beautiful of poverty. Okay, so we've got a lot to address this morning. So let's just start with breakfast, taking a bite out of my gratitude sandwich. Please feel free to play along in the cashew gallery. What are 8 specific things that you are grateful for? We're going to do this real short because we want to get to the question. But in one word, just sort of rattle off things that you're grateful for. So I didn't warn you, Tammy, because I never warn. It's a discipline. We are going to exercise the muscle that focuses you on the most positive things when you first wake up. So I am great. Good. I am grateful for the ocean of abundance. I know that's 3 words, but that's what I call it. What are you grateful for?
I am grateful, of course, waking up and actually seeing the sun, the day.
I am grateful for technology.
I am grateful for having my morning mushroom coffee.
I am grateful for Siri, even though sometimes she translates into some bad words.
It's a relationship.
Yes, it is.
I am grateful for actually where I live. I am grateful for actually, I know it's too much, being barefoot and grounding on Mother Earth.
Beautiful. I'm grateful for friends who keep in touch from 7 years ago. My friend PJ, who is Orville Nation.
I am grateful for I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I am grateful for my family and my friends.
Beautiful. And last but not least, Maria is chiming in here. She is grateful for her mushroom coffee. There's a story behind that, I'm sure. So that's the top of the bun. Oh, here we got one more. I'm grateful for the ability to listen, says Orville Nation. And I say, what? Just kidding. Listening is fabulous. Now we're going to go to the bottom of the bun. So the bottom of the bun is something I want you to do before you go to bed at night. A lot of us, especially because of the pandemic, have new kinds of worrisome things that come into our heads that keep us from sleeping or falling asleep. So instead of thinking about all the things we didn't get done or lost or all of that, I want you to focus on, what do you like about yourself? So the top of the bun was, what do you like about life? The bottom of the bun is what I think is the hallmark or foundation of good mental health, which is self-care, self-soothing, self-love, self-acceptance, the opposite of self-loathing, which is definitely part of this show, and especially on Mental Health Matters Monday. So again, one word, what do you like about yourself? A quality that you like about yourself. I'll start. Funny.
Tenacious.
I know. Good. Courageous.
Humor.
Let's see. Maria's here. That invented copy and paste. Okay, that's a gratitude. I'll say Maria appreciates her ability to adopt new techniques. Copy and paste. I appreciate my wittiness.
I appreciate my quirkiness.
I appreciate my resourcefulness.
I appreciate my resilience.
Oh, great. And we have Nicole Lee chiming in. She is appreciative of her adaptability. Love it. Love it. There we go. That was very quick. Thank you for having breakfast with Dr. Marissa and my coachee this morning, Tammy, as we come up on Monday. It is Monday, Mental Health Matters Awareness and Problem Solving and Happiness Upgrading. That's what we're here for today. And I hope you continue with your eyeballs in my cashew gallery. We're going to talk through an opportunity that Tammy has in looking at some ways in which to upgrade her happiness. So thank you for taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. All righty. I am, oh, wow, we have just so much chatter. That's wonderful. We've got clapping and yay, Tammy. We like Tammy. Tammy, you have fans already. Beautiful. Beautiful. Aren't you glad you came on camera? I always leave it up to my coaches.
I sure am.
Seen or not. And I don't even think she needs coaching anymore. She's high now. All right. So here we go. Mental health money matters, just for anyone who would like to be part of this special series on Mondays. You know, I have co-hosts almost every other day, or guests. Mondays I want to reserve for myself, because I do love being in the flow of the energy that is helping people claim their birthright to happiness. So if that's a little description of what's going to go on today, Tammy, anyone who wants to sign up, go to drmarissa.life and have I have a schedule on Mondays so that you can come get some free happiness coaching.
Nice.
Okie dokie, here we go. Nicole is excited for this. I'm excited for this because you just never know what I'm going to say. I don't even know what I'm going to say. I say at the beginning of these sessions, when I do happiness coaching, speak through me. Don't let me get in the way. Let the words be thine and the voice be mine. And in case you thought I was religious, I'm not. I'm spiritual, just as a background check here. I believe in a power that creates the worlds that I'm connected to. And when I meditate, I plug myself in. It's like I have this plug coming out of my butt, and I plug it into the energy that makes sure that the planets do not crash into each other, and also is responsible for the beautiful creation. Not one grain of sand is like the other, not one blade of grass, not one leaf, not one drop of water, and not one of you and I. We are all one of a kind, wonderful. And that is the Kool-Aid that I try to get people to drink on the show, especially on Mondays. All right, enough introduction. Here we go. Feet on the ground, Tammy.
Feet on the ground.
And those of you listening, Maria, PJ, Nicole, you can all do this with me. John Baptiste in Africa. Take your hands, palms up. So you're in full receptive mode. Put them down on your lap. Okay. And you're going to gently close your eyes. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. And releasing soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. That's the physical connection. This is the 3-breath technology that I have created and use now to connect with that energy. And the second breath in through the nose. And releasing all the stories and the drama. That's connecting the mind to our breath, which is called Chi, eternal energy. I know you thought I was Swedish, but I'm Chinese, and I borrow from those roots. Chi is a beautiful description of the life force, eternal energy. One more deep breath in through the nose, and releasing. And in that release, you're going to connect like little webs of flow of energy, and connect with everyone, especially with me, Tammy. You're connecting with Chi, eternal energy, the breath of life. This is the 3rd breath, which unites on an energetic level. Spirit, soul, we are all connected through energy, and I can feel you now. My fingers are starting to tingle a bit. I feel PJ in New York, and John Baptiste in Africa, and Nicole in San Diego, and Maria in Colorado. Woo! Maria just shot me with a special little energy there. And that is such an important way to anchor ourselves. So, Tammy, this is the first Happy 88 tool that anytime you are starting to worry, starting to question, starting to feel not the normal high vibrating person that you are, that you just stop and take those 3 breaths. One more deep breath in. And release. Now open gently your eyes. Actually, don't open your eyes yet. Sorry. Got ahead of myself. Keep your eyes closed. I'm going to ask you a question on a scale of 1 to 10. When it comes to your relationships, let's look at relationships on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being horrible, 10 being fabulous. What number would you give relationships?
I would give it an 8.
Beautiful. Same scale, on health and wellness, your own health and wellness?
I would give it a 6.
6. And final question, and those of you in the Cashew Gallery in the chat, feel free to put your numbers down as well. The last number is job and career.
I would give that a 6.
A 6 as well. Okay, beautiful. Take a deep breath and release as you release. Open your eyes, gently come back to the room. All right, beautiful. How do you feel so far?
I feel very, very grounded. I like this technique.
Good, good. I'm glad. I also use it because it's a great example. People say, you know, the world is, you know, everything's falling apart and people are crazy and the world's going to hell in the handbasket. And my number one example of how good life is and how much there is and we're not going to ever run out is breath. Because when I take a breath, I take nothing from you. Like you're not like dying over there because I took a breath, right? And vice versa. So breath is a beautiful reminder of how much abundance there is in the world. All right, here we go. I just want to make sure. Oh, Nicole's got an 8. Maria wants to drink the Kool-Aid. Beautiful. Welcome to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, here on this NBC News radio channel that leaves no listener behind. And I see new eyeballs rolling in as you're streaming. Thank you for joining us. We are doing Monday. And we are doing the opposite of rainy days and Mondays always get me up. Hashtag UP Unlimited Possibilities. And here we go. You have a choice to choose from the 6 from your relationships to the 6 from job and career. Which one would you like to tackle this morning?
Job and career?
Yeah. Awesome. You rated both of those on 6. So first of all, congratulations. 8 is an awesome number. You all know, you thought I was Swedish. I am Chinese. 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homophone for good fortune. And that's why I am, I believe my belief system is a lot of the dis-ease in life is because somehow we think we have to be perfect. And so 10 is that optimal. And rarely can we hit the 10. And then we beat ourselves up if it's not a 10. So 8 in my book is fabulous. So the fact that you put your relationships at 8, I want to first acknowledge that. And here's another tool for you that anytime you start feeling bad about health and wellness or job and career, you remember, but my relationships are at 8. And I know that I can also move the number anytime by what I focus on. Okay, so there's another tool for you, Happy 88 tool. So let's look at.
Nice. I like that.
Good. So you choose. Do you want to do health and wellness or job and career?
Let's do health and wellness.
Okay. Although I thought you wanted to ask me about job and career when we first talked. Did you change your mind?
You know, I did because as a mid stop in the great divining universe, without health, without job and career, I need health and wellness. I need a good foundation before we can go to the next level. So
Got it. Beautiful. Love it. Here we go. What would you say the biggest block is for you to have an 8 or even a 7 when it comes to health and wellness?
I would say being consistent, actually.
Okay.
Being
consistent
and being present. at the moment.
And
And
give
being
me an
present,
example.
being present in the moment of the activity, being present if I'm going to actually with meditation, which sometimes we get scattered and stuff like that, but that's part of the process of growth and expansion. As in actually going to the gym, being moment and being present and not being distracted. And actually, it's getting that's not just always being scheduling that time out, which we do because our lives get busy, but actually making this a factor in the moment of making this actually an everyday moment that we need to actually do this, that this is an important tool. It's a connection to be physically, mentally, and emotionally aware of what we have to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. I want to ask you specifically. I know that people say if you hear voices in your head, you're crazy. But I'm here to my belief system is if we don't acknowledge what those voices are in our head and what they're saying, we will go crazy. So I want to hear, what does your head say to you that leads you to not be present, to not be consistent, to not do. My guess is, let me see if I've gotten what you're throwing out and read between the lines. I don't know anybody on the planet who is without that voice that might say something like, okay, Monday, I'm going to start back on that healthy. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to work out. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to do the things that I know that are going to make my body, mind, and spirit healthy. And on Monday morning, I'm going to start. So if this is like Friday, but in the meantime, I'm knowing that I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to just, I'm going to have that last thing that I shouldn't have. I'm going to not work out on Saturday because I'm going to work out on Monday. And so all of that gets moved to Monday. Monday morning, I get up and I'm like ready to go. And I sit up and it's just like, oh man, I'm so tired. And I did, such and such yesterday. And man, I overdid that. And I just, my back. Oh, suddenly I have this, I can't hurt my back. All of these things. And then, so I just stay in bed. My joke is, my bathing suit says, go do some laps. And my sweatpants say, nah, you can just like stay in bed. And so I listen to my sweatpants and I go, okay, well, I can recover tomorrow or next Monday I'll start. And then the voice becomes extremely critical. And it says, you piece of shiitake. You don't keep your own word to yourself. You say you're going to do these things and you never finish and you don't complete and you know better and why you should on yourself. And that voice exasperates our view of ourselves, our motivation to do something good for ourselves. And if we let that scale go down, I call it stinking thinking is the top. If we don't catch it at stinking thinking, we go to worst case scenario. I'm never going to get this. I'm just going to, I'm going to be roly-poly for the rest of my life. And that's just the way it's going to be. And then F'inator is the bottom of the scale, which is then we beat ourselves up really, really badly. So I call the labyrinth of shiitake, where we just start moving that down. How much of those voices and what it said is accurate?
Well, first of all, I love shiitake mushrooms. Second of all, some of those voices do come in. And some of those voices I could say I have done very well with. It's like, no, we're going to do that. I'm very diligent with that. But it's more that I get scattered thoughts as in, hey, or whatever's going on with family. What did you pick up for tonight's dinner? Did you actually marinate the chicken? Because that's important. Stuff like that. It comes into play, and this is when I get sidetracked. And sometimes we do, because life gets busy, and we get sidetracked. And it's to hone myself into, okay, I need to focus on this piece. And sometimes that is just being human. Those negative thoughts come into play. And if we didn't have those negative thoughts, it could be a good thing and a bad thing. It's a balance. It's the yin and yang. And if we didn't have those negative thoughts, how would we grow? How would we learn about ourselves? And how would we expand? And I welcome those thoughts. I really do. And people say, no, yes, I have to. We must go through, not over. We must do, like you said, it's actually my belief system.
Good.
And that's what I love about it. But sometimes it can get down a bit.
Okay. So it sounds like you have a good balanced awareness of who's talking, which is step one of, getting that number up, is realizing who you really are. And the tool here is called the person that you just said, who sounded a lot like me on balance centered, no, that's not true, or no, and stands up, it acts on your own behalf as your best advocate. You're not a piece of shiitake. You're not hot shiitake. You're just pretty good shiitake, is the balanced centered voice that is the muscle building that is behind the bottom of the bun for the gratitude sandwich, right? Because if we can't approve of ourselves, how the fork do we expect other people to approve of us? So good for you on that. It does sound like, though, you have the dis-ease of two things. One is Women Who Do Too Much is the book that I love that title, because you have high expectations of yourself. You want to be able to fulfill the roles and responsibilities that you have taken on. You want to be able to be, productive and achieve all those things that you say you're going to achieve, right? And there's a lot of stuff, right? So the other influence is, I call the squirrel influence. Okay, I'm going to do this. I know I need to get the chicken in the front. I need to, and then all of a sudden, squirrel. Somebody calls, squirrel. Somebody, says something, squirrel. Something happens. Like, did you hear about this? And so that, the distraction factor. And I heard this great analogy. It's like, you have one focus, you have a bunny moving in this direction. You add a second bunny and trying to manage two bunnies, and they're going in opposite directions. And a lot of us, women who do too much, have 8-10 bunnies going in different directions. So like you said, we're human. How were we supposed to keep track of all of those things? So that sounds like your specific scenario that I can give you some tools that might help for you. And know that if you're listening and you're like, oh my God, that's me, most likely, and this is also an actual gender difference. They've done studies where they slice the brain. Not really. They put things to monitor the activity. And PJ, this will be interesting for you to know as a guy. Now, this is not true of all guys and all girls, or all women, all men, but most. This is an actual group difference. I think the downside of political correctness is that we throw the baby out with the bathwater and say we're all the same. I don't see your color. I don't see your age, which is bullshit-taki. Everybody sees three things when they first look at you. Mm-hmm. Automatically, it's gender, race, and age. So going to gender, most women, if you give them a task, their electrodes will flash all through their brain, all areas, all hemispheres. Men, on the other hand, not all men, but most men, if you give them a task, it's one specific single focused orientation is what it's called. Ding, 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 ding here. Now, the good news is for men, most men can focus on something until completion. The downside is if you try to put anything else in front of them, fail, right? It's so focused. Women, on the other hand, the good news is they can put the chicken in, talk on the phone, watch the TV, vacuum, fold clothes, and make plans on an RFP all at the same time. The bad news is easy distraction. Anything comes in, that's when you walk in a room and go, now, why was it that I came in here again? Or going shopping and buying everything except the one thing that you really needed. That is the downside of multiple focus orientation, which is the term for the women's side. So you are a woman, and so you have that naturally, right? And you also are a high achiever, right? So then that adds the number of bunnies, right? So of course you have that. So how do I get to the point where I am able to get a little more focused on what I want to focus at the same time? And I think the best practical way to do this is to give you some techniques in meditation, because the things that you are talking about are absolutely normal. I would say 98% of my clients come in with this kind of challenge. So meditation is a great example of something that is almost impossible to do because you have all of these things, right? So you sit down, I'm going to meditate every day for 15 minutes. That is always my recommendation. No more than 15 minutes, because we have lives, and the whole point is to fully express living, not meditating. So I'm a big believer in, we don't want to sit under a Bodhi tree for 4 hours every day, because then we're really not exercising our unique talents, gifts, and abilities. So let's just practice this. If you've just tuned in and you are wondering what's going on in studio today, it is Monday, and we are doing Mental Health Matter Monday series on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KZAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, and a station that leaves no listener behind. And thank you for joining us. We do have a lot of people in the chat. Let me check in with them right now. Let's see what I have missed here. Maria, Tammy knows her mushrooms. Haha. Shiitake reduces cholesterol. We've got a commercial for shiitake mushrooms, inflammation, and supports immune health. Great way to be healthy. What's funny is she said that she was grateful for her mushroom coffee. So there you go. And they can, funny, PJ. So he's reflecting on my example of how most women can do multiple things at the same time, including burn the chicken because they forgot they put it in the oven. Yes, that is probably true. My best example is, my first turkey. Oh, I think my children still have PTSD from that. I went to slice into it, and it was beautiful brown on the outside, but it was like bloody on the inside and all. Anyway, that's why I make a lot of reservations. But
Plan B.
Plan B, order out. Okay. So let me give you a couple of meditation techniques that will help anchor you, which also will influence your ability when you are not in meditative state to focus. And before I do that, the one thing that you'll hear me talk to myself a lot, because I understand how important it is for my balance-centered self, Dr. Marissa, to be driving my life car. So just to give you a next step on your awareness, right? The person that's talking is balance-centered Tammy. And balance-centered Tammy has the ability to soothe the critical voice and the bratty voice. The critical voice is, God, you should have done this. How could you do this? How could you burn the chicken? And then the bratty voice is, you're not the boss of me. What do you mean I can't have that Krispy Kreme donut? I don't feel like working out. That's the bratty voice. So balance-centered Tammy is the one that says one thing at a time. One thing at a time. And I'll say that multiple times through the day. I actually, at the top of the hour, have on my alarm, it goes off, and that's just a reminder to anchor myself in the top of every hour. And I just stop whatever I'm doing, unless I'm in a meeting and talking, because then I'll look like super weird. But usually, I'll pull over even if I'm driving top of the hour and just take that breath, that 3-breath technology to anchor and to access my balance-centered self. Does that make sense? Okay. So balancing myself, I'm going to say one thing at a time. One. Sometimes I'll just say one. Mm-hmm. And that helps me listen to my balance-centered self. Because the critic, as you pointed out, it has a good side. It's called protection. So the opposite of the critic is the protector. And the protector kept us from running into the middle of the road and getting run over. It also kept us from burning our hands on the stove. That's the job of the critic. But most of us know not to do those things when we're adults, but we're still letting the critic drive the car, right? So for a lot of us, that perfectionism comes from letting your critic drive your life car. And it's going to drive it over a cliff because you cannot control everything to make sure it's perfect. Right. Does that make sense? Okay. So balance-centered Tammy is going to go into meditation now. And we're going to gently close our eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose and release. And just sit there. And as soon as a thought comes into your head, tell me what it says. My thought is, oh my God, you've closed your eyes again on camera. You look stupid. Okay, so that's the thought that came into my mind. What's a thought that comes into yours?
Openness.
Okay.
You got to be open.
Okay, I should be open. I got to be open. Oh, I wonder what time it is right now. How much time do I have left on the show? That's another thought. So every time I have a thought, what I do is I take a breath in and I picture myself grabbing that thought. I'm not going to kill it. I'm just gently grabbing the thought. And then in the exhale, I'm going to let that thought come through me and down because my feet are anchored on the ground, and it's going to go through the bottom of my feet into the ground. And so every time I have a thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a breath in, grab the thought, release it down through my body. So you can actually visually see yourself do this. So try that we'll give it a minute. Just breathe in and release. Palms up in your lap, soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. Breath in and release. In and release. Just watching the breath go in. Have a thought, grab it, and release. One more time. And release. Gently come back into the room. Open your eyes. All right. How was that?
That was good.
So did you have a thought that you grabbed?
I had a thought I grabbed. I had a thought I grabbed. It's like, oh man, I got jury duty next week.
Very good.
It's okay.
Very
it's next
good.
week.
And you grab the thought and you released it down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And balance centered, Tammy could say something like, that's next week, one thing at a time. That's
Yes.
next week, one thing at a time. Okay. If your muscle gets strengthened, then it becomes in outside of meditation, it begins to anchor you wherever you are. So this is a good skill to exercise and get strong in meditation. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot
Now,
of sense.
some people have such an active mind that the thoughts, there's just like too many thoughts. Like it's just like, right? So if you're one of those people, you might want to anchor, and you can't even watch your breath. You anchor your attention to numbers. So for some people, it's helpful. You get into that stance and you literally watch 1 in, 1, 2 out, 3 in, 4 out. And so you are focused on something. It's not your thought, but just numbers. And those numbers mean nothing, right? Okay. Now, for me, I'm super competitive. And so I would try, how far can I get in my numbers before I have a thought, and see if I can improve on, getting to 88 without having a thought. If you're very competitive, you can use that too. But the logic behind this is, if you can take your focus that is scattered onto one thing, which is the number, it might also help with that focus. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So that's another technique that you can use. Now, there's another Happy 88 tool that might help with the focus, and that is, I don't know if we have time to do this. Let me just cut to the ending. A lot of us define ourselves in what we do for other people, right? I'm the mom, so that comes with the responsibility to cook and clean and right? That's my role. I'm a business owner. That means I need to right? So every role comes with it a whole load of things that we have to do. And you can get 9 things to go right, and 1 thing falls through the cracks. And then that critic starts with look at you, you're a failure, right? Right? And then you beat yourself up, and then you're paralyzed, right? So perfectionism, procrastination, paralysis. So a lot of us who are I'm a recovering perfectionist. Perfectionism is not your friend. It's a dis-ease with life. I'll be happy when I finish this. I'll be happy when my kids are okay. I'll be happy when my parents are okay. I'll be happy when that chicken gets in the, that delay, that when will put you into a bottom number when it comes to health and wellness, job and career, and relationships, because you're never happy. Got it? Mm-hmm. So that is the foundational tool, is to not judge yourself based on your role in life. That's advanced graduate school, right? So, because that's how we define ourselves. So in my book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, it is an actual, and you bought my book, Tammy. So if you go to page 159 and do that exercise.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did it already? Wow. Okay. Cool. You define yourself by who you are at the core of who you are. So, Tammy, describe to me 3 things that best describe you adjective-wise. you are, I'm trying to remember the appreciation exercise. What are 3 things that you know you are and you're good at?
Listening.
You're a good listener, like PJ.
I gotta be PJ one of these days.
Yes, you will. He's in Spain
uh,
right now, actually.
Nice. A good sense of humor, and sincere.
Good. That wasn't very difficult. Some people are so wrapped up in their role in life and what they do for people that I ask them, who are you at the core of who you are? They're like, what? Like the dog that hears a funny noise. So it's good. You're connected with who you really are. And that is a tool to use when you are being pulled in 7,000 directions and something falls through the cracks. So the other thing that I say to myself, I cannot be everything to everybody. I cannot be everything to everybody. And that, as silly as it sounds, a lot of us perfectionists carry that BS, that belief system that gets us into trouble every time, because we want to make other people happy. We want to be able to help everybody. We want to be able to do what we say we're going to do. But the bottom line here, folks, is that's not possible. It is not humanly possible to be everything to everybody. Okay, so then some of us go, fine, I'll go live on a desert island and F you, and I don't need to make anybody happy. That's a typical extreme reaction of a perfectionist, all or nothing, right? Perfectionism or paralysis. Balance is the answer. Where is the middle ground here? Okay. I can't humanly do the 8 things right now that are in the moment need to be done. One thing at a time. What's the first thing I want to do? I look down there, and sometimes I use triage. Is someone going to die if I don't do this? No, they're not going to die. The other thing, a good useful tool is enabling. The enabling check. I call it the enabling check. So if I do this, am I actually hurting that person because I'm not giving them a chance to learn how to do this themselves? Ooh. That was a tough one, right?
That is a good nugget right there. Yeah.
Good. Check. Ask that question. Am I enabling someone and taking away their chance to learn this on their own? Right. And that, for teachers and leaders, we have this BS, this belief system that people need us. And that, frankly, my dear, is bullshit-talky. Nobody needs you. Every single person on the planet has a connection to this thing called the energy that creates the world, the friendly universe, whatever you want to call it. They all have that connection. And you can hear, if you're a law of attraction student, Esther Hicks' words here is, don't think that you are all that to everyone. Everyone has, she doesn't say it that way, I'm being a little bratty here, but everybody has that connection. And if you think you're the only one that can help people, you're fooling yourself, and you're trapping yourself into this BS belief system that will lead you to an early grave because you're exhausted. Well, if I don't help them, and therefore you don't put the oxygen mask on, you're all wrapped up into what you think you need to do for someone else. The number one person you need to do something for is yourself. Take a breath. Ground that right there. Okay. Last tool I'm going to give you, Tammy, is another one from Law of Attraction, Esther Hicks' teachings around the best feeling thought. The best feeling thought. So when you have a thought pop into your head, and then I have jury duty next week, okay, you're going to ask yourself, is that a good feeling thought? Or is that making me anxious, worried, upset, negative? Okay. If it's not making yourself feel good, change the thought. Okay. Now, again, not in extremes. You can't go from, and I have jury duty next week, and boy, I love jury duty. I can't wait for jury duty. Come on. That's going to the bullshit talky extreme, which I'm not asking you to do, right? But most of us, the way you said, and I got jury, is, and on top of everything I gotta do that. I don't have time. Blah, 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 blah. That doesn't feel good. Okay.
No,
but the middle ground is balance-centered. Tammy says, okay, that's next week. I got time. Right now, what is it that I need to do? I need to get the chicken out of the oven so it doesn't burn, and then PJ will be ready.
For no fact, I don't burn chicken, but also too, the no fact is, I'm pretty sure there's a poll out there that said people love jury duty for some reason. I don't know.
Good, and that's balance-centered Tammy recognizing that she's not going to own PJ's accusation for most women doing too much. Okay. But the good news, and now some of you may be saying, oh my God, you mean for the rest of my life, I've got to listen to all these crazy voices and put them in categories and soothe this and where's that? No, you'll get more automatic about it. But in the beginning, it is important to say, oh, that's my critic talking. I need balance centered to address that critic. And I actually ask people to name their critic, not because you're going to blame anybody, but just so that there's an easy identification. So my critic is named Rose. Guess what my mom's name is?
Rose.
Okay.
Rose.
Yes. And again, I love my mom. I'm actually going to be flying to Toronto on Thursday. Every quarter, I try to go back and spend time with my mom because my Chinese mom, she's got Parkinson's. This is the birthday trip. I'm throwing a birthday party for her. She's 89 years old. She's in a facility. And so, you know, I'm not saying Rose as my critic to criticize my mom, but she was very critical. And so as soon as I say Rose, I know that it's the critic talking, and then I can soothe the critic.
Right.
Does that make sense? My brat's name is Agnes. I have no idea where I got that name, but I think maybe there's a movie that was Agnes of God was a great movie. Maybe that was me. And she was bratty, right? So my brat, I recognize when I say, oh, Agnes is talking. Because she's like, I ain't apologizing. Anytime I say I ain't apologizing, I know it's Agnes because Agnes hates to apologize. So it's an easy identification again. Oh my gosh, guess what? We are out of time. We're in the last minute. Thank you so much, Tammy. I hope you got something out of that. On a scale of 1 to 10,
a lot.
How are you feeling on health and wellness now?
I am feeling a nice solid 9. Thank you so much. This is very, very helpful. Thank you
all
so
right,
much.
do this with me. I sign off. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Thank you for tuning in today to take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Tune in tomorrow for more. Now, in the meantime, have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Tammy.